So, Sorcerer has been buffed,
That's good.
and Sorcerer has been nerfed.
Ooh, that's bad.
Let's talk about this. Hello, my fellow sorcerers! How are you doing this fine day? Especially those of you that are currently wielding the raw might of splintering energy, frozen orb, winterglass, and that loveliness in whatever version you're using. It's been buffed nerfed. Yeah, the best build of the season has been buffed nerfed, and the reason for it is quite curious. Let's not waste any more of your time and have a little look. Hotfix 4 then. This happened like an hour ago as you are hearing this. We have an update to the game, aspect of splintering energy. Damage increased from 25 to 50 to 50 to 80. So a 30% increase on the damage on the top end. That's a hefty amount. That's going to take it from 4,800 or so on the staff to over 6,000, which you are going to feel, except you might not feel it, because that's the buff. The nerf is that splintering energy will arc to additional enemies less frequently. So that's interesting, because the aspect just is, if lightning spear crits, it arcs. So how can it be less frequently? Is it just going to randomly ignore the fact it's crit sometimes? So that's already curious and certainly something that needs testing. But then we have, oh, and to note, yes, the tooltip hasn't updated, so if you look at your aspect, it's still going to read the same, but it has been buffed. Then we have this. In rare instances, this aspect alongside Fractured Winterglass could cause detrimental server performance issues, which is hilarious. All of us sorcerers spamming out 40 to 60 lightning spears and a bajillion frozen orbs is breaking the game in more ways than one. High five, everyone. In any case, though, to solve this, we're reducing the frequency of it arcing to additional enemies, but then increasing its damage. Yeah, we've seen that. But then the amount of frozen orbs that can be launched from conjurations has been adjusted. So this is a kind of double nerf. Less arcing, less frozen orbs, so less frozen orbs creating lightning spears. So how does this actually play out then? It's interesting, right? Because the less frozen orbs doesn't matter that much in terms of frozen orbs producing conjurations, because we didn't really rely on it for that. The frozen orb explosions are to just reduce the cooldowns on your conjurations from your winterglass. So how has it actually affected things then? Well, the raw numbers you're going to see are, well, higher because they're 30% buffed. That's the good part of this. The issue is, they seem to have really reduced the frequency of it arcing. Despite, as I said, the aspect specifying if it crits it arcs, it feels like there's almost an internal cooldown on it, and things are dying slower. Getting as many stacks of Conjuration Mastery is still certainly happening, but the raw DPS has seemingly gone down. I've thrown together a quick version of it with non-perfect gear, as I'm in the middle of testing another build I can't wait to share with you, but I have had tests from my fellow sorcerers that have helped me out, and just in general, from what's going on, yeah, it seems like a fairly hefty hit. Or at least in most cases. From sorcerers I'm talking to, tests being done, essentially this is anywhere from a small buff to like a 50% damage nerf. And essentially where it lies on that scale for you is A, how good your gear is, and B, the level of content that you're doing. If your gear is perfect and you're doing the hardest stuff, then you'll notice it the most negatively, but if you're doing lesser stuff with lesser gear, you either won't notice it or you'll feel a little bit stronger. For main context, if you're farming tier 8 solo with this build, you should be fine and you really won't notice a huge difference, maybe a tiny bit slower, especially on the council, but since this build can kill the council in like 10 to 30 seconds, a tiny bit slower isn't really a huge deal, so functionally it's still there, but there really does seem to be a huge tapering off at the high end that you will notice if you are in perfect or near perfect gear for this build. So I just kind of want you to be aware of that as you play over the next couple days, and you probably see weird things happening that you weren't expecting with it terms of your performance in one way or the other. As I say, it's a really weird buff nerf, and I still feel like there's some stuff happening under the hood with its application that maybe we don't quite understand yet because it seems a bit, well, funky. And it's weird that this has come as a result of performance issues. I have to believe they don't intend to nerf it as a build, so in theory they've just not got the numbers right. They erred on the side of caution with going from 50 to 80% when maybe it should be to 100% and so on. So hopefully they give it another pass and maybe tune it back up to bring it back to the level it was at. But there certainly is a hit to it, at least in most cases. There is certainly an argument to be made now that perhaps Rogue's best build is making more of a claim, and hey, the gap on Sorcerer's second best build, which I think I have a new build to take that spot firmly that's coming very soon. I am so excited, it is absurd. I have pushed something so far and look forward to tomorrow, oh my god, might take that crown. In any case, there is a little bit of a shift in the air, though the severity of it sounds like it's going to vary depending on who you are, what you're wearing, and what you're doing. So, altogether, quite the shuffle and change from what is essentially a performance-focused hotfix. I think it's always, let's say, a shame to have builds changed for a reason other than literal balance, and then it does affect the balance, but they have to always err on the side of stability. But it's also weird that in an ARPG all around breaking skills and making things go crazy, breaking a skill and making it go crazy is like, oh, okay, calm this down, that the game is dying. So, in any case, I also think it's quite amusing that literally earlier today I was talking how Conjuration Mastery stacking builds are going to become a problem for Sorcery because nothing can compete with how much damage stacks of Conjuration Mastery give you, and therefore nothing is going to beat whichever build can produce the most Conjurations. And while now that's fine, enjoy it, have fun, it is good to be on top, in a couple seasons time, it's going to start being a little bit so while this obviously has nothing to do with that, and it's certainly not changed in any way I imagined or for the reasons I imagined, it's interesting and amusing that this has changed like hours after I've talked about it. For now, though, that's kind of what's going on. I wanted you to be up to date and aware of what has happened to the build probably most of you are in, how it's affected it, so you know. Let me know what you think, of course, and until next time, like you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of this channel's continued existence on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.